They say that only two types of people can survive in the world: those who can bring themselves to kill, and those who are too weak to stop others from killing them. History has its fair share of ruthless killers, but none perhaps were as bloodthirsty as the one we'll be discussing today. Welcome back, everybody. Today we will meet the woman who dipped her bread in blood. Born in 1560, Elizabeth Báthory was a Hungarian noblewoman. She married into the wealthy and influential Báthory family and lived a life of privilege. However, she was far from the sweet, demure little rich girl. Behind her back, she had a vicious streak. It all started when she married Count Ferenc Báthory in 1586. The couple settled down at his family estate where they would rule like royalty. They were in charge of everything from managing the lands to controlling the peasants who worked there. And they did it in the most tyrannical way possible. They whipped peasants for minor infractions, locked them up for trying to leave the estate, and even set dogs on them. But this wasn't enough for Elizabeth. When she moved into the estate, she found an old torture chamber in the basement. From then on, she would lure villagers to the dungeon under false pretenses and have them tortured and killed right in front of her. She was especially fond of one torture method where victims were suspended by chains from the ceiling, just like the devils in the old tales. The Countess would go into the chamber every day to watch the villagers writhing in pain and slowly die. This went on for years. People just vanished from the village and their families could do nothing about it. The local priest tried to stop her, but when he confronted her, she simply had him put in the dungeon too. But after 20 years, the couple decided to move to a new house. They bought the nearby castle of Chete and began the construction of another torture chamber there. Word got out about what happened to the villagers, and the nearby nobles didn't want their fates to be sealed as well. So they sent spies to keep an eye on the Count and Countess. It wasn't long before they sent word to the king about the sadistic couple. King Matthias II decided to take matters into his own hands. He sent a royal guard to arrest the couple, but they slipped through their fingers. While Elizabeth's husband was arrested and thrown into prison, she escaped and took all of her wealth with her. She fortified her castle and waited. Then when the king's soldiers came to besiege the castle, she opened the gates and let them in, surrendering without a fight. But this was only so that she could slip away and escape to Vienna. There she spent the rest of her days flaunting her wealth and jewels, while rumors of her crimes circulated around the kingdom. The king wanted to put her on trial for her crimes, but since she was in Vienna, which was part of the Habsburg monarchy, it was difficult to get her back. The Austrian court didn't want to make things difficult with their Habsburg cousins, so they offered her a deal. She would be spared if she donated a large sum of money to the court. And although this was a lot of money, it was nothing compared to what the Countess had stolen from her victims. In reality, she had made off with more than 400 kilograms of gold and precious gems. Still, the king wasn't pleased. He forced her to watch as her husband, the Count, was executed in gruesome fashion. Then he took her title of Countess, leaving her with nothing but her fortune. Now, you might think that she learned her lesson and decided to spend the rest of her life in peace, but you'd be wrong. After the execution of her husband, she went insane and spent the rest of her life in a self-imposed exile in her castle. She surrounded herself with the trappings of royalty, complete with a throne room. There she performed mock coronations on herself, declaring herself the Queen of Hungary. She also ordered the construction of an altar, where she placed statues of herself and her late husband as kings and queens. Although she never went outside again, she continued to have servants brought to the castle, and while it's not certain what she did with them, it's presumed that she had them tortured and killed. She did this until her death in 1614. Historians believe that she may have been responsible for the deaths of more than 600 people, possibly even thousands. This makes her one of the deadliest women in history. Now, that's a scary thought. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. We've got lots of other historical tales for you. And as always, thanks for watching.